I still remember the exact moment my world collapsed. It was a Thursday evening in October. The office lights were dimming as most people had already gone home. I stood outside Vanessa Klein's glass office holding a USB drive that contained the last 12 months of my life. My name is Sophia Reynolds, 29 years old, senior product developer at Apex Innovations. For 4 years, I had given this company my youth, my energy, my sleepless nights, and my absolute trust. Project Eclipse was supposed to be my legacy, an intelligent AI analytics platform that could predict market shifts with frightening accuracy. I had poured my soul into it. I grew up in a quiet Midwest town where dreams felt expensive. My father worked 2 jobs, my mother battled illness, and I learned early that hard work was the only way out. When Apex hired me fresh out of grad school, it felt like fate. Vanessa, the head of product, became my mentor. She took me under her wing, praised my ideas in meetings, and told me I was destined for greatness. I believed every word. For 12 months, I worked like a woman possessed. Late nights became normal. Weekends disappeared. I missed my best friend's baby shower, my sister's wedding anniversary, and countless dinners with my boyfriend, Alex. But I told myself it would all be worth it when Project Eclipse launched, and my name was attached to something revolutionary. The final presentation to the board was scheduled for the next morning. I had triple-checked everything. The code was clean, the demo was smooth, the data visualizations were breathtaking. I walked into Vanessa's office with a proud, tired smile. "Everything is ready," I said, placing the drive on her desk. She looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Calm, almost pitying. "Sophia, there's been a terrible accident." She turned her large monitor toward me and clicked open the main server folder. My heart stopped. Every single folder labeled Eclipse V1 through Eclipse Final was gone, not just hidden, deleted. The cloud backups I had meticulously set up, also wiped. The local copies on my work laptop had been overwritten with dummy files. I felt the room spin. "I had to run a server cleanup," Vanessa said flatly, not even looking sorry. "Some files were corrupted anyway. You'll need to start over. We can push the presentation back by a few months." Over 12 months. Thousands of hours, countless sacrifices, erased in one click. I stood there with tears burning in my eyes, my hands trembling. "Vanessa, that was my entire year, my life," she sighed as if I was being dramatic. "Business requires tough decisions, Sophia. Maybe you should have backed things up better. Learn from this." I walked out of her office in a daze. Colleagues who had seen me celebrate milestones on this project now avoided eye contact. That night, I drove home through pouring rain, sobbing so hard I had to pull over twice. What I didn't know in that moment of complete devastation was that this deletion wasn't a mistake. It was the beginning of a calculated betrayal that would nearly break me and eventually set me free. The first week after the deletion felt like morning. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the empty folders. Alex tried to comfort me, but even he grew frustrated after hearing the same story every night. "Maybe it really was an accident, Soph. You can rebuild it." I knew better. Something felt deeply wrong. I spent nights trying to recover anything I could. I contacted the IT department. They told me the deletion had been done with admin privileges, Vanessa's privileges. And I asked for backup logs. They suddenly became unavailable due to system maintenance. The office, the atmosphere turned toxic. Vanessa started publicly criticizing my lack of foresight in team meetings. She gave my promising junior developer, Marcus, pieces of my old work to improve upon. I watched him present modified versions of my ideas as if they were his own. The betrayal ran deeper than I imagined. One sleepless night, I remembered a strange conversation from 6 months earlier. Vanessa had asked me very specific questions about how the AI learning algorithm worked. She wanted the core architecture explained for documentation. I trusted her and shared everything. Now I realized she had been extracting knowledge from me while planning to sideline me. I discovered through quiet conversations that Apex had been struggling financially. Investors were demanding results. Vanessa was under pressure to deliver something revolutionary quickly. My project was perfect, but she didn't want me to get the credit. Rumors said she was in secret discussions with a competitor, Horizon Dynamics. My performance reviews suddenly tanked. HR called me in for a meeting about reliability issues. I was assigned meaningless documentation tasks while Marcus got promoted to lead a new initiative suspiciously similar to Eclipse. I felt invisible, worthless, shattered. There were nights I sat on my apartment floor surrounded by old notebooks filled with ideas, crying until my eyes were swollen. I questioned my entire career. Was I really not good enough? Did I deserve this? But pain has a way of sharpening your vision. I started documenting everything quietly. Screenshots, old emails, timestamps. I created a hidden folder on my personal drive with every conversation, every praise she had given me, every suspicious action. One evening, I stayed late and found an unlocked shared drive on a conference room computer. What I saw made my stomach turn. There were partial code files of Project Eclipse sent to an external email address. The recipient domain belonged to Horizon Dynamics. Vanessa wasn't just deleting my work, she was selling it. The emotional toll was crushing. I lost weight. My relationship with Alex began cracking under the stress. I had anxiety attacks before entering the office. Yet every time I felt like quitting, a quiet voice inside me whispered, "They tried to erase you, don't let them." I reached out to an old professor from grad school who now worked in tech ethics. She connected me with a discreet intellectual property lawyer. We began building a case in complete secrecy. Meanwhile, the anonymous calls started. Unknown number, distorted voice. "Stop digging, Sophia, or you'll lose more than your project." I changed my number. I installed new security on my devices. Fear mixed with determination in my veins. This wasn't just workplace betrayal anymore. This had become a thriller I never asked to star in. Then came the call that changed everything. Exactly 10 days after the deletion, my personal phone rang while I was making coffee in my kitchen. "Reynolds? My name is Daniel Park, Chief Innovation Officer at Horizon Dynamics. We've seen some extraordinary work that appears to have originated from Apex. We believe you are the real mind behind it. Would you be open to a confidential conversation?" I almost dropped my mug. We met at a quiet upscale cafe far from both companies. Daniel was direct. They had received leaked fragments of Project Eclipse and were blown away. They offered me a senior director position with triple my current compensation, full ownership of the project, now renamed Eclipse Reborn, equity, and complete creative control. But I had conditions. I wanted to finish what Vanessa started. With my lawyer's guidance, I submitted a detailed dossier to Apex's board of directors, ethics committee, and major investors. The evidence was overwhelming. Deleted files with admin logs, external communications, timestamped proof of idea theft, and witness statements from 3 employees who finally found courage to speak. The company tried to settle quietly at first. Vanessa denied everything, calling me unstable and vindictive. But the board couldn't ignore the risk of a public scandal. In a tense emergency meeting, I presented my case calmly and professionally. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply laid out the truth. Vanessa was terminated within days. The company paid me a substantial confidential settlement to avoid lawsuits. Marcus was demoted. Several senior leaders received warnings. I joined Horizon Dynamics the following month. 6 months later, Eclipse Reborn launched to industry-wide acclaim. Major publications featured my story without nomming the previous company. I was invited to speak at tech conferences. The project I rebuilt from the ashes became even stronger with Horizon's resources. Vanessa's career took a different path. Last I heard through industry contacts, she was struggling with freelance consulting and damaged reputation. She never reached out to me. Today, I lead a team of brilliant minds who respect and value my vision. Alex and I grew stronger through the storm. I finally feel at peace. If you are watching this and someone in power has tried to erase your efforts, diminish your worth, or steal your dreams, please listen to my heart. Your work has value even when others try to delete it. Your voice matters even when they try to silence it. Sometimes the greatest betrayals become the bridge to your most beautiful chapter. Never let anyone convince you that starting over means you failed. Starting over can mean you finally begin living on your own terms. I lost 12 months of visible progress, but I gained my freedom, my confidence, and a future brighter than anything I could have imagined at Apex. Thank you for staying with me through this long, emotional journey. If my story touched something deep inside you, please share it. Someone out there is hurting the same way I once did and needs to know they can rise again. Drop the word rebuild in the comments if you've ever turned betrayal into breakthrough. You are stronger than the people who tried to break you. This is Sophia Reynolds, finally free, finally seen, finally home.